What's up, YouTube? Working on the Falcon Miata mashup, whatever the hell you want to call this thing. So, I am working on the clutch. So, I made this plate here that is going to reinforce the firewall. I'm going to weld these nuts onto this plate, then mount this, and then weld the plate on. Hence the extra holes, and I figure, hey, might as well use what's already there, right? And then, you know, stitch weld around the outside. That will give me my backing plate, so my clutch pedal doesn't push through the wall of the car, which I don't think is that much of an issue, considering I have have this right there. So can you imagine, this will sit like that, but there, which means part of it will be behind here, and I don't see this pulling through. So I should be okay. And then the clutch pedal is part of the brake pedal, which is reinforced by all the shenanigans over here from my last video. And then from there, hopefully this video will include me trying to do the steering wheel, because, or the steering column, because it's going to still be Miata going up under the dash, and I would like to retain the factory turn signals, because I do not want to sit there and try to figure out how to fit that in the Miata, but I might have to. So this is the final shape I ended up with. If you do this yourself, it might come out different, because you might put the pedal a little lower or higher, or use no booster and just screw in the clutch safe cylinder. So my wiring goes right here, so I trimmed that down. I just need to clean up a little everything, and this is more than enough surface area to prevent it from pushing through. You know, rose weld there, rose weld here, maybe a couple tacks along the side. That's it. Should be good. Alright people, so that's where my bracket sits. There are a couple tacks. Like I said, this ain't pushing through. Now let's go on the other side here. Actually, let's turn these off, because batteries are fucking expensive. Alrighty. Sorry for all the jumbling. And there's our bolts and our holes. Need to do some sanding, but yeah, all this shit's going to come out eventually again. So after this, I'll work on getting the pedal arm over. I'll stick the master on in a second. So here we are, we got the bolts in, everything is bolted up. Yeah, that's kind of a pain, but there we go, getting it. So I'm going to take a break and hopefully have the pedal stuff done for the next video, or next clip, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But that is tight, like I said, with the reservoir. I think I have, or I can make a nipple like this to fit in here. But for shits and giggles, this is what it looks like with it plugged in. Come on. Then push it in all the way, because they're taking it out, but pretty good. Yeah, the spring still clears, I believe. What do I do with that? Here we go. So this sits like that. I'll just flop that in there. You see the holes are way off, but would you look at that? Just barely clips. The only weird issue is the electrical, but I'm planning on probably getting rid of one of them, or just moving them. I mean, it's not that hard to move them over to there. I mean, they're just rectangle holes. So that is where I'm at. One of them, or the engine harness one, I mean, two are for the fan, water temp, oil pressure, and I'm sorry, the green and red one here, coil, oil, and then water temp. That's 3 wires, that's 5 wires, and out of this there is 7 wires. And then 2 are for the fan, and then the starter solenoid. So depending on what I do, I may not even need that harness, because if the fan moves inboard, I don't need fan out here. If I'm using all the Miata sensors, well, I don't need that per se. Would actually need that if I'm going to run the Miata gauge instead of the Falcon gauge. So that eliminates all that. Plus I'm going to need the key power to turn on the ECU and all that stuff. And why run it, you know, out of the harness back into the firewall into the cab when not needed. So I'm going to make a cleaner harness like I did for the Bug. Like I said, you know, as for the headlights and stuff, I might actually be able to move it over into this area here and then just do a full wire tuck up against the frame here, because all the stuff is lights and the battery stuff. But even then, I get to lose wires out of that harness too, because the battery's going in the trunk, and so there's no voltage regulator, and the alternator and stuff is being ran off the Miata harness, so all that stuff is getting hooked up most likely under the dash. So the Falcon harness is going to be blended with the Miata harness, and then like the stuff I spent money on to make it work, like the radiator temp to turn it on and off. Like, I don't need the temp anymore. I need the relay, run that off the Miata switch, be done with it until I get money to go either rotary or LS, or if I get stupid money, go Coyote to keep it forward, but I don't, so most likely I won't. That is where we are at. So let's take that brake. So here's the brake pedal all done. See, it is nice, smooth. There is my clutch. So I got to make something that comes off 2.5 inches and not bind up. So let's get cracking. So I have this weird sleeve gizmo left over from an old machine. So I just tacked it up, cut a bolt for shits and giggles since it had a nice shank. And then I trimmed the plunger down a little bit. And now I have a little bit more adjustability for the most part. Looks good to me. Sorry about all the shit in the way. But so I only got a couple tacks on this. I'm going to weld the piss out of it. Maybe put a little Geist up against it, but I think we are good. I don't see this clutch pedal kicking back that much resistance to snap this off once I weld the piss completely around this. So I had to drill the eyelet holes out a little bit bigger. I trimmed like a 1/4 inch off the tip just to have more adjustability. As you see, the rod is screwed all the way in. So that means I bring the pedal all the way up until it hits that old doohickey there. But my pedal looks silly this high up. That's about where it should be. That's about how much yeah, I believe that's full throw. So yeah, let me weld this up and maybe throw some paint on all this shit and get going. Sorry for the jump to jump. So here it is, all welded up. Welded the living piss out of this. That is not coming off. Then for a spacer, I have this old throttle spring. I still need to screw it in a little bit more. Then I drilled it, made a cotter pin. I want to see if I got one of those clippy clips, and oh, there we go. That's how it works. And like I said, I got adjustability. Back that up a little. So I got like that much more adjustability. Like I said, I took a little bit off the tip And that's where we're at. So this is done. Let me throw all the pedals in, show you how they move. I still need to probably make a stopper for this of some sort, because the factory one, this turns out one of the bolt holes was like right there. It's impossible to get the nut on it, and then like this ends up stopping against this with a big rubber thingy. And I think I'll just weld in like adjustable or a screw with the nut that stops on this piece here that you saw hit the support for the pedals. So let me get this in here and get going a little bit more. Sorry I don't do time lapse and stuff like that, but I mean, I only got the one camera. So this is where we're at. So I had to come off that far to make it. Now if I really need to, I can make some sort of pivot thingy. Let's see, is this a better angle? From here to here, if needed, to hold this, but I don't see this bolt coming apart. Yeah, it's just pushing a clutch slave cylinder. I mean, it's not a cable, it's hydraulics, so it shouldn't be that bad. The brakes, and like I said, I will, build something like this across like that, and I'll catch it, and I'll find a way to make it removable, but whatever. Or actually it might have to come off here to here and then bridge to there. Some goofy shit like that, but I don't see it coming apart. So let's cut to the next one. Alright people, here's my clutch pedal. Like I said, I still gotta do the stopper. And then here's my brake. All I got left now is the gas pedal. Then onto the steering column. Whew. Other than, having a flux core welder, I mean, it's all there. I mean, check it out. I still need to put a washer and bend the cotter pin, but since I'm going to take this apart to paint it, I'm not going to do it. Like I said, I use that carburetor, universal spring, whatever, crapola as a spacer. Probably put a washer on the inside of that for proper gapping. But like I said, I mean, no binding. Let's see, can you see the plunger? I don't know how much more in I need to go. Like I said, I could adjust the pedals. I mean, that's what it backed out. Let's see how much that is. I still got a lot more rod to go out, so I can max this out and make it go, halfway down to the floor. And then I just need to find that clip there for the clutch. That's out of the cotter pin. And then gas pedal, steering wheel. And then we are golden, people. Golden. So I got a little sidetracked with other stuff. It's really late. Can't grind. Gotta close the doors. Stinks like hell in here. So the brake pedal's done. The clutch pedal's done. You saw in the video what they look like mounted, whatnot. I thought about it. Even if you're not doing Miata swap, you could probably do the same thing I did to put a Willwood master on there and go disc brakes and be on a budget, or you buy a Mustang kit and try to make that work. That's kind of weird looking. If you don't run a brake booster, you can slide it over way more and you don't have to really run an offset, and you should be okay. But on that, I started messing with the steering column. I mocked up the gas pedal. Need to space that out like an inch so they kind of line up a little better. Gas pedal lower, then brake, and then clutch. And forgot to take a video of it. Only had one screw holding it in. I got to find the throttle cable to figure out what kind of weird stuff I got to do to get it through the firewall and to mount and whatnot, because the gas pedal is going to be too far down for my taste, and it looks funny. So like I said, in the next video I'll show you that. On that, thanks for liking, subscribing, sharing, all the other mumbo jumbo YouTube bullshit. But it does help when you guys subscribe. And next video would be finishing the gas pedal and then messing with the steering column. So peace out.